is this all about? This is, in a nutshell, everything that you need to know without the fluff, without the BS, without, just adding more to your plate, how to finally drop 10, 15 pounds of body fat, see muscle definition, look hot in a bikini, not just for summer, but year round, without adding more cardio to your plate and without dieting harder. Okay. Why you're here. Why the heck you're here, what you're doing here. Um, Most of you will be in a similar position as this. Most of you will check off most of these boxes. You eat clean, you eat healthy, you train consistently, you work out regularly, or at least you try your best to. You follow all the rules, but your body isn't quite reflecting the efforts that you're putting in. So you don't see the effort reflecting on your body composition. You feel lost and confused by all the conflicting information that's online. We are not in an era where we don't have enough information. We have an increasing amount of information every single day, and it can be quite confusing to filter through all that noise. You've jumped from programs to challenges to meal plans to boot camps and all the things and classes, but again, you have very little results to show for. Your body's still not reflecting all that hard work that you've been putting in. You're disciplined, so that is not your problem. You're a hard worker already. You don't struggle getting the work done. You know that if you have a plan, you'll follow it. You're driven, you are successful in other areas of your life, but your body is that last piece that you can't quite figure out what you need to do. And sometimes, and this is something that I hear quite often in conversations with clients, you feel guilty admitting that you don't really like what you see because from other people's perspective, you look good, you look okay, you look fine. What are you complaining about? So you have a hard time admitting that, okay, I want to look better. I know deep down that I can. I just, don't know how. And despite of the hard work or all the effort, you still don't feel confident putting on a bikini, rocking that swimsuit for summertime in beach vacations, and secretly you just wear clothes that are covering up your trouble areas instead of wearing the clothes that you absolutely love. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points here that I just mentioned. Put it in the chat if you check off more than 3 of these boxes. Just raise your hand and say me, just so I know who else also is in the same position as you. Yep. Go ahead and type me in the chat if you resonate with at least 3 of those points that I just went through. Yes, Sabrina. Yes, Jill. Nadine. Hi. Debbie. Yep. That is very common. And as you can see, you're not alone. You're not alone. This is nothing that you're struggling alone and that's a you problem. You're not a special snowflake. Many women struggle with the same things as you. And chances are that you want to one day be able to say this, be able to share this with somebody. And this is from a client of ours. And she says, I look so much leaner. I cannot believe my before and after pictures right now. I'm so happy with my progress. I cannot wait for summer to come so I can wear summer clothes and a bikini and feel amazing. Who here is looking forward for summer and looking forward to put on a bikini? And who here is kind of dreading the idea of having to wear a bikini this summer because you're not quite looking the way that you want it to look? And I know sometimes it's hard to admit that because, oftentimes society will just pressure you into, it's okay. You should be able to, feel good the way you are. Why are you complaining about? There's so many other people that look worse than you. Sure, but the heck with all those people. You care about you. And what matters is what you feel and how you feel when you look yourself in the mirror, when you put on that bikini, when you're naked in front of your husband and you don't feel confident enough to not throw in that headache card. We all know that you don't have a headache, right? Anyways, So society, like I said, pressure us into believing that it's wrong to want to look better, to want to feel good in our skin just because we want to. And I'm here to prove you the opposite of that. I'm a firm believer that you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you can be. And if this is something achievable, if you're here because you want to, you're 5'5" and you want to be 5'10", then no. But if you're here because you want to improve your body composition, look better, and you know that there's a path to get there, then absolutely let's go for it. Okay. Now, those are the reasons that most of you are here, or you are just here because whatever, you saw something, you registered for it, and you are just curious and have no idea what this is all about. Who am I, or what do I do? Either way, just wanted to welcome you into this workshop. Stay on here, and over the course of this training, you'll be able to tell if this is something that this is for you, or it might not be for you. And this is not for everyone. And I'm not here to, try to accommodate everybody. I just want to make sure that we are very clear on who this is for and who this is not for too. Now, before we even dive in and get started, get ready. I see some people here already, like I can see who is ready. You're taking notes, your camera is on, but you muted yourself so we don't hear. Maybe it's bedtime or whatever the case. Interact in the chat. So whenever there's an opportunity, put your name on there. Reply to what I'm saying here, just so I know you're awake and I'm not talking by myself here. And research shows that if you watch this while you're getting your steps in, you'll get faster results. Okay, so just saying. So the only thing that you can do aside from pay attention to this presentation is if you're walking on your treadmill, walking outside, or whatever the case. Okay, we're gonna do a Q&A at the end. So after the presentation, after the training, you'll have the opportunity to raise your hand and unmute yourself and ask your questions, or ask your question in the chat. But either way, don't feel shy. You can unmute yourself and absolutely ask me any questions that you might have. Now, again, another disclaimer, I'm 34 weeks pregnant today. So I might stumble on my words more often than usual. This is typically bedtime. Well, this is bedtime for our toddler, and my husband is doing that right now. So typically this is the time where my brain is not at full speed. So bear with me there. I might stumble on my words a little bit more than usual. And if you don't understand something that I say because of my accent or because whatever, just ask, okay? Feel free to ask. I'd rather you asking than assuming things. And the role of this training, and the reason why I wanted to do this, is not to just add more to the pile of confusion and conflicting information that's out there. And I didn't want to, create this training to also just go through, oh, you should be getting your steps in, you should be eating more, vegetables, or you should be getting your 10,000 steps a day, blah, blah, blah. Those things that you're already tired of hearing on social media, that that you should be doing, and most of you are probably already doing those. And at the same time, I'm not here to overpromise things and promise you the perfect dream body that's going to be so easy to achieve. In 1 month, you're going to be like, you're going to go from, 150 pounds to 120 pounds and lean, toned, all the muscles. We don't do any of that, okay? We don't do magic pills. I'm very, very straightforward. If you got that from my content, if you are my client, you already know that. And if you just started following me, or if you just started getting to know me, just know that I'm an OBS type of coach. So I will not be here talking about the magic pills that will give you your dream physique with very, very little effort. That's not what we do. I'm here to tell you the truth, what it entails, what goals you have, and the expectations of effort that you need to put in to get there. But I'm also not on the other spectrum of it's just about discipline and it's just about, willpower, and you have to power through and no pain, no gain. I'm somewhere in the middle, okay? And I'm going to show you what that middle ground looks for you. And one thing that will happen if you stay until the end. You walk away with a clear, sustainable, proven system to finally drop the fat, build lean muscle, look hot in a bikini, not just for summer, but year round, and at least having a better understanding of how this process works. If I can help you understand how this process works, and if this helps you at least filter through the noise of BS that's out there and give you a clear path of what you need for your goals, I'm happy with that. Okay. So no more hiding cover-ups, no more avoiding mirrors, no more, shutting the lights off and all the things. I want you to be confident that you have a path to get to the other side where life is so much fun, so much more fun. Now, um, why don't you look like you lift? Why you are not looking the way that you want to look, even though you're putting in the effort? You're working out 7 days a week. You eat healthy most of the time. You check off the box, you check all the boxes. You're better than 99% of the population, but you still don't have visible muscle definition. You still don't have you still have that stubborn body fat that it won't budge. And again, you're not quite sure what you're doing wrong because it doesn't seem that you're doing anything wrong, really. And for many people, and many of my clients came to me like this too, they've lost weight in the past, but even when they lose weight and they get to their body weight goal, they don't achieve the lean physique that they want. They don't look as athletic as they want. And the reality is that it's not your age, it's not your hormones, it's not your genetics, it's not your metabolism that's broken. It's not because you're over 30 or 35 or 40 or 50. The problem isn't that. The problem is the approach that you've been given. Okay. Now, even more so, when we talk about women like you who are already putting in the work, there is a lack of strategy and a lack of talk around what strategies do you need to achieve your goals. Because you want more than general weight loss. You want body recomposition. You want to shift the ratio between fat and muscle in your body. You want to look a specific way. You're not here just because you want to drop a few pounds. So to build that sexy lean physique, you need muscle, but you also need to drop body fat. And oftentimes you can only find advice on either side of the spectrum. Either the standard just general weight loss that doesn't work for you. It doesn't, because you're probably already doing that. Or the other side of the spectrum is the bodybuilding approach, which is 6-7 days a week in the gym, 2 hours a day, eating chicken and broccoli 6 times a day. That might deliver results at some point, but it's going to be unsustainable for you and for the lifestyle that you want. So having those extremes doesn't really help you get the results you want, and you start questioning yourself. And then you get to the messy middle where there's a lot of marketing towards women over 30, over 35, over 40, and all the hormone talk and all the fear mongering and things like that we're not going to dive into this today. But it is confusing. It is confusing to understand what you really need. And there is a lack of good coaches, good programs out there that are talking about women like you, and they're providing solutions for women like you. And this solution, like I said, a happy middle ground, right? Neither on the extreme side of the training 7 days a week, no pain, no gain, or just a general weight loss advice for that strives for balance and flexibility, and you can eat a bottle of chocolate pizza every day without any regard to the amount, and you can drink a bottle of wine every day, and that's fine as long as it fits your macros, blah blah blah. That's typically geared towards people who just want to lose a little bit of weight, maybe initially, but we need that happy middle, which our process meets with what I call structured flexibility. So yes, we have flexibility. We allow for flexibility. I believe all processes and everything that we're going to be talking about here should allow for some flexibility to really fit into your life. If you want to look bikini ready year round, you want to have an approach that works with your life, that you can sustain through holiday seasons, to vacations, traveling, all the things, just like I do. But if you don't have a structure behind it, everything comes with a cost, right? Everything comes with a cost. When you say yes to something, you say no to something else. So if you want some sort of flexibility and if you want to be able to enjoy a happy medium of balance, you got to plan ahead. You got to learn the structure. You got to learn the principles behind it. Otherwise, it's gonna be a free for all, and you're gonna be stuck in that place where you feel like you're doing a lot, but you're not quite. You're not quite doing the right things, and that's what I call structured flexibility. Okay, so a little bit more about what you're gonna learn today. And just comment in the chat if this is sounding promising, if this sounds, awful. Just put a 1 in the chat if you're enjoying this so far, if you want to hear more, or if you just think that I'm boring AF and I should just shut up and go to bed. It's good information for me to know, you know? Good, good, good. Thanks, ladies. That's awesome to know. So yeah, a little bit about what you're going to learn here tonight. One, why you're doing what you're doing now isn't working and how to fix it. Two, the lean and sexy formula. So my 4-phase evidence-based system to shed body fat, build muscle, achieve a lean, defined, sexy physique without living in the gym or cutting out your carbs. Yes, carbs are allowed, I promise. And the exact shifts that you need to be making starting this week, starting right away, that you can start seeing visible results, not by just doing more, but by being more efficient about what you do. Okay. And full disclosure, full disclaimer here, I'm going to show you how to accelerate your results inside my one-on-one coaching program as well. So for anyone here who is truly committed and are ready to take things to the next level, are ready to get that one-on-one coaching experience and get the results that you've been working so hard for, I will be inviting you to apply for my full coaching experience so you can get the best results possible, okay? But only if you are a good fit for our community and our methods. We don't work with everyone. There is an application process that we go through, and I'm going to explain how all of that works. But I just want you to know ahead of time that I will be inviting you to join my coaching program, to apply for my coaching program at the end of this training presentation, okay? And if you stay until the very end, be prepared to stay here for the next 60, 90 minutes. And if you stay until the end, you're going to get a bonus, which is the free access to all of my 6-week Momentum Reset Challenge trainings, which my clients who are here can vet for. It was an amazing 6-week challenge that we did internally. And I am giving you access for free to all of our trainings from weeks 1 to 6. And there's bonus trainings as well on vacation eating and on muscle building. So I get access to all of that for free if you stay until the end of this presentation. Okay, cool. Now, who am I? I haven't introduced myself yet. Who am I and why you should listen to me? My name is Andrea Carvalho. I'm the No BS body recomposition coach for ambitious women over 30 who want to look lean, sexy, sculpted, strong, all the things. I've transformed my body over the years. I've been in the fitness space for around 20 years as an online coach, specifically coaching women for the past 6 years. And I've helped over 400 driven women around the world eliminate that stubborn body fat, build lean muscle, look hot year round, and all of that without extremes, endless cardio, or extreme diets. Okay. If you train hard and you want your body to show it, I'm your girl. Okay. Now, I didn't always look like that. I'm not going to say that I didn't always look the way that I do, because the way that I do now is a little bit rounder than what you guys are seeing. But I've been training in the gym for around 20 years, but I spent half of it. I spent a decade doing all the mistakes you can think about. So I know from experience what it is to be spinning your wheels, to be doing all the things, to be stubborn as heck and thinking that, oh, I can figure this out on my own. I can just follow whoever on Instagram or YouTube and grab the video and learn this all by myself. I'm smart. Anyways, I spent a decade wasting my time. Okay, basically in different cycles. I had and I in different phases as well. I had a phase where I was into very low carb diets, like carb was basically the enemy for me. I eliminated all the carbs. I didn't even, for years, I didn't eat fruits. I didn't eat potatoes, rice, beans, and I'm Brazilian, okay? Brazilians love rice and beans. I didn't eat rice and beans for like years and years. No fruits, no bread, no oats, nothing, like no carbs and very high in fat. There was a point that was eating just one meal a day, fasting for like hours and hours, maybe 24. I think my record was 27 or 30 hours, something crazy like that. I did Whole30. I did bodybuilder style diets where I would bring all my Tupperware, to the beach and have my boiled eggs with broccoli and all the things. I would do cardio twice a day to undo the damage from the weekends. I would spend all of my money, especially when I lived in the States. I lived in the States many, many years ago, and it was the era of bodybuilding.com. So many, many years ago, Instagram wasn't a thing back then. We had the bodybuilding.com forums, and I would basically learn from those bodybuilders what I should be eating and what kind of supplements. So I would buy all fat burning supplements to try to speed up the process. Anyways, in a nutshell, I tried to do it all. Okay. Cutting all the sugar, cutting carbs, cutting flour, working out 6, 7 days a week, spending like 2 hours in the gym. And I felt like I was doing everything right. But the reality is that I was getting nowhere. And obviously, I was surrounded by people who would look at me like, oh, why do you do all of that? You don't need that because you're already thin, you're already skinny, you look great, blah, 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 blah. I didn't feel great. I did not feel great. I knew that there, especially my arms were my weakest points and where I was the most self-conscious about. I knew that there was a way to get leaner, toned arms, but I couldn't figure out. And I hated it. I hated it because I was doing all the things and I was, the fit friend, but at the same time, I couldn't figure out how to get to like how to show off my abs or how to build the damn glutes or doing all the things. Anyways, I spent around a decade spinning my wheels basically. I even competed in bodybuilding. I won my first show. So I competed once and I won my first show, which it was great. It was a great experience and all of that. But after that came the rebound. So I gained about 30 pounds in a matter of 6 to 7 months after the competition. So it was really bad because I didn't know and I didn't have the right advice on what I needed to do after such an extreme diet phase. So gained a lot, lost control over my food, all the things, gained a bunch of weight. And that was when I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. The things that I know to be true aren't working. So I gotta find a better way. And that's when I dove really, really deep into understanding how this all works. Nutrition, training, learning from the best coaches in the world, learning from the best experts in the world, and figuring out how to get myself unstuck. And obviously, whenever I figured that out, I started, you know what? There's other women who also need my help, who also are going through a similar situation. And that at that point, I was already somewhat sort of sharing a bit of my journey on Instagram. So people were already reaching out. But that's when everything shifted for me. And then maintained the body that you see on the left here. This is what I maintained for the most part in my 30s. I'm 37 for reference. For the most part in my 30s, this is what I looked like. This is what I maintain pretty much year round. And then on the right, this is the results when you get too hot and your husband gets excited about it. This is basically the result of our program. Anyways, so then different seasons, different challenges, and it came pregnancy. Even though I was still working out, and that's the thing, with pregnancy came the learning of I don't have any control of what's going on here. I can only control what I do. I can only control my inputs, but I cannot control how my body is going to respond to this season, what's going to happen. And that's for people who like to have control, like myself, this is a mindfuck to be in. So even though I was working out 4 times a week, even though I was hitting all of my steps, drinking my water, I was pretty much, I continued living the lifestyle that I was living before pregnancy throughout my entire first pregnancy. I still put on 45 pounds during pregnancy. And then right after it came postpartum, I needed to figure out a new approach, a new way of maintaining the results and basically regaining my confidence back. Which again, if you're a mom here and if you go through the postpartum phase, you know how hard it is. So the first thing that I did personally, even though I am a coach, was hiring a coach to help me create a plan that worked for this season of my life. And then the picture on the right here is around 11 months postpartum when we went to our first beach vacation in Punta Cana last year. And I did a photo shoot. Like I didn't think that I was going to be able to do that so soon. And I did, and it was incredible. And I guarantee that the results that I've got not only is because of the methods that we used, which I'm going to share here with you, but also the fact that I've been working towards muscle building and working through different phases for a very long time. And many of the things that people struggle with during the postpartum phase, the basics were already mastered. So I wasn't scrambling to find new ways to do things. It was just an adaptation process for me. So definitely building muscle is the best bang for your buck whenever it comes to different seasons in your life and going through different phases, not just staying stuck on fat loss. And this is what I help women do. Okay. These are screenshots of current clients of ours who are, who takes the same approach as me, who are getting amazing results and are wearing a bathing suit and feeling more comfortable in their skin more than ever, getting compliments wherever they go, and feeling confident with everything that they wear. Because at the end of the day, yes, we can nerd out on stuff, on the details about training, nutrition, macros. How should I go about this? I want to do this. I want to do that. But why? What's the end goal? And for the majority of you is to feel confident AF in your clothes, is to be able to wear whatever you want, is to be able to, not have to think about how you're looking or not have to think about your body constantly throughout the day and through different events or whenever you meet people and so on and so forth. And Kate is a great example of that. She went through our process, and granted, this was just a 4-month progress update, and she absolutely crushed it, dropping body fat, revealing the muscle underneath, and going through the phases appropriately as well, having a plan that worked for her life, having a plan, a training plan, nutrition plan, and all the things that she could adapt for her life. And one thing that's important here, and I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the presentation, is the importance of training in your body transformation journey. Okay, Katie trains as like she's an animal in the gym. She trains really hard. She can bring the house down. And she asks for feedback all the time, which means that she is doing the right things efficiently. She's putting in the effort where the effort needs to be with the right strategy. And that's where the transformation happens. Okay. Same thing with Lillian, for example. She never wore a bikini until this photo, and she was 44 at the time that she took this photo. 44 years old. She had never wear a bikini before. And she was able to do that through, understanding what she needed for her goals, through applying the methods that we're going to be sharing here. Same thing with Brooklyn. She was doing boot camps. She was already tracking her macros loosely and, basically doing all the things, but still not getting the results that she was working hard for. Okay, she was doing the things she knew that she could do better, but she couldn't figure out why. Through our method, she was able to achieve that. Now, the biggest mistakes that keeps you stuck, and I'm gonna ask for you guys to tell me if this is you in the chat. Okay, you can just raise your hand. You can just say me. If there's a lack of clear goal and strategy. You might say, no, I have a clear goal in my mind. I want to get toned. I want to get lean. I want to get this. I want to get that. But your goal determines the process. Okay. And sometimes what I hear from many women that I talk to is wishy-washy goals. Oh, I just want to be a little bit healthier. I just want to be a bit more toned. Or I don't want to. You focus on what you don't want. Oh, I don't want to lose too much weight. I don't need to lose too much weight. What's your goal? Oh, I don't want to look too muscular. I don't want to look like a man. I don't want to. Okay, but what it is that you want. If let's say you're driving and you're putting the address that you want to be at to go to in the GPS, you have to write the exact address of where you want to go. It's not going to cut it to tell the GPS, oh, just take me, just don't take me there. Don't take me there. Okay, but where do you want to go? So that is the first and foremost, the first thing that many women are lacking is the lack of that clear goal of the vision that they have for themselves, because that's what's going to drive you. And that's what's going to determine the process in which we're going to help you to get there. Okay. So no more, oh, I don't want this. Stop yourself there whenever you start saying this about your goals and say what it is that you want. Okay. Define what success looks like for you. It's going to be very, very hard to get somewhere that you're happy with and to align a strategy that makes sense if we don't have a clear vision of your goal. And again, I think social media plays a big role in this, in kind of like making you almost feel bad for having a clear goal, or even like weight loss. Let's say that you do want or do have a specific body weight that you want to get to. Just say it, right? Why do you have to kind of like use this sort of politically correct answer when we ask about your goals? Why do we have to hide that? Yes, I want to look hot in a bikini. It doesn't mean that I don't care for my health. It doesn't mean that I'm not a good mom. It doesn't mean that I, don't care for longevity. But the vision that I have for myself is up here. This is what this woman looked like. This is what I want to look like 1 year down the road, 2 years down the road. And then what type of woman do you want to become? What type of woman do you want to become in the process to achieve that vision? And I've used this analogy many, many times with the lottery winners. Lottery winners, they They win the lottery, they become millionaires overnight, and then a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, they're back to being poor again. Why? Because they never mastered the process of becoming a millionaire, of accumulating wealth. They never learned the path to getting there. And it's the same thing with your dream physique. There's a path, there's a process to becoming someone who is capable of achieving and maintaining that physique. The habits and behaviors of someone who looks the way that you want to look is very different from the habits and behaviors of where you are now. The way that you think, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you, the habits, the very daily things that you do, the way that you make decisions around food, around training, that's very different. So I don't want to spend too much time here, but the first and one of the biggest mistakes that I see women making is not having that clear goal of what they want. Having that in place, writing down, having a vision of who you want to become will make creating the strategy and eliminating the noise a lot easier. A lot easier. Because then you know who you are, where you're headed, and you know what is for you, what is not for you. It becomes a lot easier. Okay? The second is not knowing how to measure your progress or what is your starting point. Okay? I see many women just solely relying on the scale weight. And I'm not here to say throw the scale away. The scale is a tool that we use. But if you're just like weighing yourself randomly throughout the day, at the gym, after a workout, wearing clothes, whatever, and you're just using that number sparingly without any context, without understanding how exactly what you're supposed to expect, it gets really hard to be excited, be consistent, and to really know if things are working or not. Another thing that I see many women doing is decision making based on feelings and not data. You can raise your hand in the chat and say me if you've ever felt really frustrated when you stepped on the scale in the morning and the weight went up by a pound, 2 pounds, whatever. And then that made you so pissed off that you basically threw in the towel on that day. That you basically, you know what, screw this. I'm not gonna, there's no point in being so diligent. There's no point in keep on doing this because the scale went up. That's feeling. Or if, you're at the gym one random day and you're like, oh, I guess I'm not feeling strong today. I'm not feeling strong enough today. So there's no point. Oh, I'm not feeling it today. So there's no point. And there's always this like, all decisions are made based on feelings and emotions, and there's no data driving anything. So again, feelings and emotions are fleeting. You're going to feel one thing today, you're going to feel another thing tomorrow. You might feel strong in the gym today. You might feel that you lost your strength tomorrow. You might feel that things are not working. However, we can't make decisions based on feelings, and especially when those decisions should be data-driven, really. Especially when we're talking about body composition changes, we should make decisions based on what the data is telling us, not what we're feeling in the moment, because that will change. Okay? And then another point related to this is, what is your starting point? Where are you? It is really hard to filter through the noise. Again, look within and be brutally honest with yourself. And be honest about your starting point, your situation, and what you need. Again, a lot of information coming through, and Full disclosure. When we share things on social media, we share things based on where our ideal client is. So every creator that you see online is going to have a biased approach, is going to have a biased point of view. So you might be hearing someone whose ideal client is very different than you, but you might not even realize that, and you apply that information to yourself. You don't see results or you feel lost because it doesn't really apply to you, right? So knowing thyself and knowing where you are, what your current body composition is at. Take your measurements, initial progress pictures. Look yourself in the mirror, things like that. Some people, have a distorted idea or a distorted vision of what they actually look like, what it actually is. And when we know what it is, what our starting point is, it makes it easier, again, to create a process based off of that, to be realistic about that process, and to be much more assertive when creating a plan. Okay. Now, drop a 1 in the chat if you ever thought, I should be able to figure this out. It's not that hard. I should be able to figure this out. I follow so and so. I save all the recipes. I just need this. I just need new recipes. I just need a new workout. I'm going to grab a free workout that I just found on Instagram. Oh, I just need a new meal plan. If I can get a new meal plan, that's exactly what's going to solve my problem. And I will be able to figure this out alone. Like, I don't need a coach. I don't need, anything else. Yes, you can find all that information online. But at the same time, do you know exactly what applies to you? Do you know how to implement the information? Because information without implementation is just mental masturbation. And I heard that from somebody else that I don't remember who, and it's perfect. Because that's what it is. Just collecting more information without knowing how to implement it and get results from it, get feedback from it, is like, there's no point. Okay? The best coaches in the world, they have coaches guiding them. And I'm not here to say, oh, that's me. That's me. Like I said, I'm not for everyone, right? And there's so many good coaches out there. But I'm just trying to help you understand it. And this also should lift off a lot of weight off of your shoulders, because it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help in an area that you're not an expert in. Like I said before, I'm a coach. I hired a coach during my postpartum phase because I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want it to have that biased, look towards what I was doing. I wanted somebody else to remove all the guesswork for me, create the plan, and I just needed to execute it. Right. Whenever it came time to sleep train Melissa, when she was about 4 months old, it was awful. Her sleep was awful, and it was throwing us all out of whack. So we hired somebody to help us with that, because I'm not a sleep expert. And truthfully, searching all the information online and buying all the cheap courses and doing all these things wasn't cutting it. It was leaving me more confused than helping me. So I hired someone. And it was the best decision that I could ever have done. Seriously. Because now she's been sleeping through the night since she's 5 months old, which impacts the quality of life of everybody else, which even impacted the results that I got from my transformation postpartum. Another thing, a doula. And my doula is here watching this presentation, actually. She's amazing. I'm not an expert in birth, in prenatal birth. Hi, Nadine. I'm not an expert. I know nothing about it, and I can read all the information online. But do I know? Do I know everything about it? No. And will I have time to learn everything about it? Nope. And, I should hire somebody who's an expert on that, who can help me and guide me through the prenatal, during birth, labor, all the things. Because that's not my area of expertise, right? So having somebody else guiding you through this process is not a sign of weakness. It's not that you are showing that, oh, I should know this. No, you shouldn't. You should not. It's okay. You should not. Now, diving into training mistakes and some training misconceptions that you're going to tell me if this is something that you've ever heard or that you've ever done. First one being more workouts, better results. This is something that I hear a lot. Oh, what do you think it needs to change? Oh, I think I might need to add one more workout or just more exercises. And that's not quite true. Second one being too much cardio and random group classes. Third one, going through the motions and not applying real effort in your lifts, especially when it comes to lifting weights. We're not going through the motions. Not tracking your workouts, which again, it's tied into just, going off of feelings. Oh, I'm feeling strong today, or I'm feeling weak today, or I don't feel like it today. Are you tracking your workouts? Are you tracking how much you're lifting each week? Are you progressively getting stronger? Objectively getting stronger? Following bro splits or toning workouts and copying influencer routines, just like grabbing, oh, I need a glute workout today. So you just go through Instagram and say, and whatever you save there and copy whatever routine. There's no structure. It's just a random exercises, random orders, random program, random results, really. Or even thinking that you need a bro split. You need like a day, a chest day, a back day, a leg day, a glute day, a triceps and biceps day. You don't. That's a very inefficient way to work out and get the results you want for most of the women. Okay. And the problem with most fitness programs out there, when it comes to training, there's too much junk volume, ineffective work. So there's a list of 10 exercises, 4 to 5 sets. You should bring all of the sets to failure, and you're spending like an hour and a half, 2 hours in the gym. By the time you get to the last exercise, you're just done. You have nothing left in you to give. Too much variety or fun stuff to switch things up. You don't need that. Poor lifting technique. This is something that we see a lot and that we emphasize a lot in our program. Lack of guidance on how to apply proper intensity. Somebody can follow on paper, somebody can follow the program perfectly on paper, but then when you see how they do it, how they are actually executing the plan, you can tell that that's why they're not getting results. Bad exercise selection for the goal. So just having random exercises for random orders and what we call exercise redundancy, having like 3-4 exercises for the same movement pattern, the same muscle group, the same way. Nutrition not matching your training goals and phases. Another thing, you slash your calories down to 1,200 calories. You're not eating carbs and you're expecting to get super strong in the gym and do 10 unassisted pull-ups. No, it's not going to happen. Lifestyle is never addressed on most fitness programs out there. They never look at your biofeedback, what's happening with your stress, menstrual cycle, how you're recovering, hunger levels, etc. And you need a new workout every 4 weeks, again, to switch things up, to keep things fun and interesting. Trust me, you don't. Okay. That's what's keeping you stuck if you believe in any of these things here. Okay. Now, nutrition mistakes. Tell me, let's pick a different number now in the chat so we can see nutrition mistakes, type of 3 in the chat. 3, if you try to stay in a calorie deficit year round. Okay. If you try eating clean and eating healthy, you make healthy choices for the most part. You watch what you eat, but you have no idea how much you should be eating, actually. You or focusing only on macros and ignoring food quality and meal structure. So you might be tracking your macros, hitting your macros, but nothing's changing. And you might feel bloated, you might feel hungry, cravings are through the roof. And you might end up be going over your calories just because the way that you feel. But you're focusing on macros. If it fits your macros, it's fine. Um, Cherry picking on ingredient lists. I see this a lot, a lot, a lot. Tell me if this resonates. Cherry picking on ingredient lists and having like good foods versus bad foods and being obsessed about, oh, if you can't read the ingredient, you shouldn't eat it. Oh, I should be buying this whatever low carb, high fiber tortilla instead of the regular white flour tortilla because it's good for me. I should be gluten free. I should be dairy free. I should be joy free just because it's good for me. Um, and what that all leads to is binging on the weekends, but you don't realize you're binging. You like disguise it as calling it balanced. You're having a balanced approach. But the reality is you undereat all week, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's a free for all because you deserve it. You reward yourself because you've worked so hard. So you reward yourself and you give yourself a lot of treats because, yeah, you deserve a lot of treats. Anyways, wanting every meal to be a five-star restaurant experiences. This is a big one. Um, no, you shouldn't eat food that's bland and that doesn't taste good and that you don't like. Food should taste good, but you can make food taste good, but while still keeping things very, very simple. Okay, we keep things very simple here at home. For a very long time, this is the system that we've been doing. This has been working really well. And the reality is, not every single meal is going to be like a mouthful experience. Sometimes the food just needs to get the job done, okay? And then that restaurant experience will come from, some meals here and there that you're going to have. So your expectation need to adjust a little bit on what you need to be doing to simplify the process for you, okay? Using macros as an excuse to fit in junk food, that's a big one too. Just obsessing over the numbers without regarding to the quality of the food. And the problem with most of the nutritional advice that's out there, again, if it fits your macros approach, where I fell for this in the beginning, so it's just too much focus on the numbers, hitting the numbers without having that initial structure first. Yes, we need to hit the numbers because we need to ensure that we're eating the right amount of protein, carbs, fats for our goals and fiber. But we also want to make sure that we have a solid foundation of how to build a solid balanced meal, how to make food choices, what are going to be the best food choices for the goals that I have, for the meals that I want to build, etc. And there's another area where people will just completely ignore the numbers and blame, hormones, age, genetics, kids, husband, the dog weight, the homework, you name it. And another thing that I see too, and I've been changing my mind around this as, more research comes up, but also not only research, from just working with clients and seeing this in from experience, that fat loss should always be slow and sustainable, or as slow and as sustainable as possible. For some people, that doesn't work like that. Some like fat loss shouldn't be your lifestyle because fat loss, the definition of it is staying in a calorie deficit. So you're going to be giving your body less than it needs. You're not going to be able to sustain that year round. And it's not the goal unless you have a very good amount of weight to lose. But for many people, especially if you're on the leaner side, a quick fat loss phase where you just start here, finish here, and transition into maintenance is going to be much more effective and enjoyable because you know that there's an end in sight. If you're dragging fat loss for months and months and months and months and months on end, it becomes quite difficult to stay there and quite draining as well. And you start losing results, and your body starts to adapt to that. And what once worked in the beginning, it no longer works afterwards. Okay. Misleading people into believing that they don't need to change what they do. They just need to be more disciplined. Yes, discipline is important. Yes, putting in the effort is important, but it's also as important to do those things on the right plan, on the right strategy for you. Okay. And simplicity is key for everything. A simple plan followed consistently is better than a complex plan with so many rules followed intermittently. Okay, this is going to be a key for your results, and this is going to be the key for what we do here. Now, who our approach is not for, and like I said, it's not for everybody. It's not for everyone. If you are the type of person who, you go to the gym, you love mixing things up and having variety and love all the group fitness classes and hates the idea of having a structured routine to follow, then this is not going to work for you, right? If you're okay with the results that you're having right now and you're just happy and you don't want to change, then this is pointless. Like, you have permission to exit the presentation and go do something else, because this is not what we do here. Can you still do and sprinkle in group fitness classes here and there and other modalities here and there with your strength training programming? Absolutely. We have clients who, do Pilates, yoga, and other things, run hikes and things like that, but still in a structured way and still prioritize a strength training program. Okay. The reality is that if you want real progress, see real results, you need a set and forget routine. You need repeatability. You need to make sure that this is easy enough for you to repeat day in, day out, week in, week out. And you need to learn to fall in love with the process, learn to fall in love with the mastery approach, improving your technique in the gym, okay? Getting stronger on the key exercises that we're going to talk about. That is a must. It's all about the quality of what you do, not the quantity of what you do. And the same concept apply for your nutrition. So just having a lot of variety and eating all the different things every single day, that's holding you back big time, because that makes the process more complicated for you to stick to and stay consistent on. And it's really hard to pinpoint what's working, what's not working when, every day looks different, really. If you like that, if that's your lifestyle, I just enjoy eating different things every time. And, I can't, I don't enjoy having any sort of structure, then this might not be for you. And totally understand that. But again, the fun part or the variety part will come from having the results that you're working for, right? And like I said, it is uncomfortable, especially at first, to have that structure in place and to have that repetition going. But the fun part will come from having actual results to show for. And when you learn and master the basics, it becomes more fun, because then you can play around with things because you understand the rule of the games, right? First, you understand the game, and then you change some of the things in the game. And just as an example, our client Leah, she absolutely crushed her body recomposition. She came to us fearing eating carbs, fearing eating more. I think she was stuck on 1,400 calories forever. She didn't want to eat more because she feared gaining weight. And she absolutely crushed building muscle, getting the definition that she wanted, losing body fat. She looked absolutely stunning on her wedding. And this, again, proves my point that repetition, and falling in love for the process is what gets results. This girl, she sends videos, training videos every time, and asks for feedback and applies the feedback. And that makes a huge difference. And just, some of other clients of ours who have gone through the program and are feeling great as well. Like I mentioned before, this is probably the end destination of most of you who are here. Supriya is a fantastic example of this because she's been working with us for about 2 years now, I believe. And as you can see, her starting point, quote unquote, wasn't bad. But she wanted to build muscle. She wanted to have leaner abs. She wanted to get strong. And this girl, she is strong, I can tell you. And she's built her glutes amazingly through these phases. And like she travels almost every week for work and she gets the job done and she shows up and do all the things and she sends form videos all the time. So when you are invested in the process, the results are, one, it's a guarantee that you're going to get results, and two, it becomes a lot more fun to go through the process when you know the phases that you need to go through, what you need to do, and the end destination that you're getting to. Okay, I don't know why I opened this. Like I said, I'm almost a boomer when it comes to technology. Anyways, so this is Supriya. I absolutely love her transformation in progress, and she's still working on it. We're still improving some things. We're just now starting a new phase for her as well after her wedding. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the future is going to hold for her. This is Catherine, also wanted to get leaner abs, leaner thighs and arms and back and all the things. And she absolutely crushed it as well. And working out, what, 3 or 4 times a week, and that's it. So again, proving the point that more is not necessarily better. And we have some other clients here that makes us really proud. And the reason why I share these things with you and the reason why I like to share our clients who are crushing it is, one, because I know that many of you are skeptical. Many of you have tried many different things before, and you're not quite sure if this works for you. And second, because it's, one thing for me to say that, okay, this works. And it's another thing for you to see that women, like real life women, are getting the results and the excitement that they get from the results and from what they're able to accomplish that they've never been able to accomplish before. And I'm going to share some more with you guys, but I want to stay on point with my time here because I can't go off a tangent and I can't talk for like hours. Anyways, and if if you think that I'm boring you, you can just exit the presentation. Don't put it in the chat. Um, anyways, but the lean and sexy formula is what I'm going to share here with you. And I'm really, oh, there you go. I found it. Oh, wait, to minimize. That's great. Anyways, number one, training smarter. So that's the focus when it comes to training for us. Strategic strength training with progression to build visible curves. Okay. To eat for your goals. So it's not about eating healthy. It's not about, good foods, bad foods, or just hit your calories. Fuel fat loss and build lean muscle without starving. That's the goal. Okay. And phase your strategy. Cycle through the right phases for long-term success. Okay. This is the foundation. And then know your starting point. We talked about your starting point, and I want to bring home this point. Well, I said point too many times, but I want you to really understand that you need to know where you are right now in order to create a strategy to get to where you want to be. That's the first step. Okay. All you guys are different. Everybody here is different. You're in a different starting point. So take your progress photos, front, side, back. Yes, that sucks. Yes, it's not a fun process, but take photos, record your morning weight, okay? At least like 3 to 4 times a week. Step on the scale, know what your average body weight looks like, not just a random weigh in here and there. take your girth measurements. So take your waist measurements, hip measurements. At least you have an idea of your starting point there, okay? What is your training experience if you're more beginner, intermediate, advanced? And write down how many weeks you've been dieting recently. Like, what are you actually doing right now consistently, and how long have you been doing that? Just for example, and I'll give a different example of different starting points. Carrie here, she started already lean and she wanted to get even leaner and then build some muscle. But behind the scenes, she needed to address some habits and lifestyle behaviors, like controlling the amount of alcohol that she was drinking and making sure that she was eating the right amount of food for her. All of these things that we needed to address first before even getting her leaner and in a position that she was happy with. And then from there, I start a process of building muscle. So it is a process, and it's a completely different starting point, for example, than Natalia here, who was struggling losing weight postpartum. She tried right before she started working with us. She started the HCG diet. She was eating like 500 calories a day. It was awful, awful, awful. So she came to us at a much different starting point than the other client, Carrie. And so understanding what is your situation, your starting point, will help determine the process from there. Okay. Many people are really focused on body fat percentages, which, sure, we're talking about shifting your body composition. We're talking about losing body fat and gaining muscle. So, okay, I should know my body fat percentage. Not quite. So the methods that are out there, out of all of the ones, maybe the DEXA scan is the closest one to being accurate, but not really. So I wouldn't necessarily say that that's a mandatory number to have. Although, again, I'm a data-driven person and we track everything, the body fat percentage, the exact number, is not necessarily something that's going to be number one, accurate, or number two, helpful, because the way that it is done, it might not reflect the reality. So I would rather you having this visual chart and estimating where your body fat percentage is like. Okay, we can have a pretty good estimation just by looking at this chart of where you're at. And if you are anywhere between 18 to 23, so between this third picture here and this fourth picture here, this is where we would probably start thinking about focusing on muscle building rather than fat loss. And if you're over 24, 25%, so more so like this picture in the center or any of the other pictures, we want to be fat loss focused, okay? And having a coach helps you remove any guesswork here, since this may vary significantly from person to person. And also the perception that you have about yourself might not be the same of another person looking at you and objectively assessing your starting point, okay? And from there, what would be a realistic rate of fat loss? So let's say you do have that 10 to 15 pounds to lose and you want to get rid of that 10 to 20 to 15 pounds before or around summertime. How do you determine how long is it gonna take, and what is the realistic rate? So we always advise to, one, focus on fat loss, not just weight loss. Okay, so that will reflect on 0.5 to 1% of your total body weight loss per week on average. So there will be weeks where you're going to lose a little bit more. There will be weeks where you're not going to lose anything. But on average, 0.5 to 1% of your body weight is a very realistic rate of fat loss for women. And for example, 150-pound women can expect to lose around 0.75 to 1.5 per week in a moderate deficit. So around 12 weeks, that's 6 to 12 pounds of fat loss, depending on consistency and adherence. Can you do it faster? Sure, you can, depending on your starting point, depending on your which level you're in, if you're more advanced or if you're just beginning and changing habits and things like that. You can do it a little bit faster, but Faster isn't necessarily better in this case because losing too quickly or with the wrong strategy might put you in risk of muscle loss, metabolic adaptation, and just a big rebound. So the goal is to lose fat and keep as much muscle as possible, not just lose as much weight as possible on the scale. Okay. Now, and just in comparison, okay, because we're going to talk about body recomposition in just a bit, which is losing body fat and gaining muscle. We can aim for over the course of 12 weeks to lose up to 12 pounds, let's say, right? When it comes to muscle gain, that's a much slower process, okay? Much slower process. We're talking about 6 to 12 pounds per year if you're a beginner, and that slows down each year that you become more and more advanced, okay? Truth is, most women, and I dive into this in more detail on my muscle mastery masterclass, but the truth is that most of you are going to be probably around here between beginner and intermediate in terms of how you apply the effort to the training. And, you need to have everything lined up in order for you to see results in muscle growth. It's much harder for the body to build something new than to get rid of the excess body fat. So just to have that expectation that if you are, okay, I'm building muscles, so I should be gaining weight, and you're gaining like 10 pounds in 2 months, you're not gaining muscle there. You're gaining fat. And that's why you feel like you're getting bulky. The bulkiness is not coming from the muscle that you're technically building, but from the fat that you're putting on top of it. And that's why our process of body recomposition, we take a lean building approach that doesn't necessarily require a bulking phase where you're eating like insane amount of calories and disregarding training intensity. So a good rule of thumb, if you are on that leaner side and you want to put on muscle, okay, is 1 to 2% of your body weight gain per month. Okay, and no more than about 10% of your total weight gain in 6 months. So it's not a lot. If you look at it, it's not a lot. Obviously, you might weigh more just because of glycogen, water, etc. But we want to minimize fat gain as much as possible. And this is why we go through phases. This is why we take this approach that of really paying attention to your training intensity. So you're not just like, oh, I'll eat more and just lift, whatever. No, there is more to it than this if you want to truly build muscle and get in amazing shape. Okay. If you want to just, and I hear this from a lot of women too, like, I just want body recomp. I want to build a little bit of muscle and drop a little bit of fat. So they just stay stuck in a zone where there's no really my strategy, but they eat more because, oh, I'm focusing on building muscle, I should eat more. But then it just puts you in a much worse position when it comes to your health. So we want to make sure that you start as lean as possible and you maintain a certain level of leanness while you're building muscle as well. Okay. And then it comes the body recomposition. Raise your hand and put a number 4 in the chat if you have heard about body recomposition and if you're interested in body recomposition. And that's maybe how you found me, because a lot of women, they just say, oh, I typed body recomp coach on Google and I found you. Anyways, what is body recomposition? Is to change the ratio of fat to muscle, basically. Okay. Starting body composition will determine the process, just like I said. So primary focus on fat loss or a primary focus on building lean muscle. There's no like, oh, I'm body recomping, so I don't necessarily have a focus. No, you should have a focus depending on where you're at. Nutrition will always drive fat loss and weight management, and training will drive muscle growth. Okay. Now, a misconception that a lot of women have is that, oh, body recomp, I'm building muscle and losing fat at the same time, so my weight will stay the same. And the process will be easier because I don't want to be in a calorie deficit. Body recomposition doesn't mean that you're losing fat and build muscle at the same time, at the same rate. Like I just went over, losing body fat happens at a much faster rate than building muscle. So if you're like, oh, I just started, my goal is body recomposition. So my weight's staying the same, nothing's changing, and I'm losing fat and building muscle, and that's why my weight is not dropping. No, like it's not going to happen that you're going to build so much muscle that's going to offset the fat loss. Okay. It doesn't make the process, oh, so easy just because you're not drastically reducing your calories. So you can see most people can build muscle and lose body fat at the same time, not just at the same rate. Okay. For example, our client Tanya, she worked with us, I believe it was a couple of years as well, or even 2.5 years, and she went through all of the phases with us. And her starting point was here, 135. We got her leaner first. That was the initial goal. So she dropped to 115. And then from there, she spent, I believe it was close to a year just building, not focusing on losing any more body fat, just building, eating for her goals, and training like a beast. When I say training like a beast, I don't mean that she was spending 2 hours in the gym 7 days a week. I mean that she was putting in the right intensity, the effort, improving her technique, improving her form, lifting heavy shit for around a year until we finished her building phase, and then we did another phase to get her leaner to this third photo here, where you can see this last physique update. So we didn't just go straight, oh, let's just maintain your weight and let's just, cruise. We first got her leaner in a position where it was more optimal for her to build. From there, she built and then got back to 122. Now, what's not shown in this picture, and I should have found a fourth picture here, is from going from 115 to increasing her weight again to close to 130 before she dropped down to 122. So this third photo here is the results being revealed by a fat loss phase, but she had just gone through a phase of exclusively muscle building where she put on more weight. So she didn't stay stuck on that 115. Okay. Same thing with Shannon. Very, very similar process when it comes to body recomposition for her. And even myself. And this is also a good red flag for you guys whenever you see somebody claiming, oh, my body weight is exactly the same on these two pictures, but I look leaner, or my weight didn't change, or I look leaner and I'm heavier. True. I look leaner and I'm heavier on this picture here, right in the middle, than on this one here, which is from 2010. But what nobody talks about is the in between. You go through phases. This is not like a 6-month thing. I didn't increase my weight by like 20 pounds in 6 months and ta-da, I'm there. I went through different phases, right? Phases where I was focused on building, phases where, okay, I have to lean down to lean out for this. So whenever you see definition, so here on my quads, for example, you can see the cuts, on my abs, on my shoulders. That's because I went through a fat loss phase to reveal those muscles, right? And then after that, we do a process to maintain. But whenever you see definition, whenever you see, you can see the lines, you can see toning, you can see some definition on her abs, and she's claiming, oh, she's way more than before. Sure. But how long did it take for her to get there? And what was the process that she followed to get there? In between this picture here, my arms, there is 10 years. 10 years in between these two pictures, and many different phases that I went through to build muscle, cut body fat, build muscle, cut body fat, get stronger, all these things in between. And I'm not saying that's going to take you 10 years, but I just want you to have this frame of reference that it doesn't, it's not an overnight process. You're not going to start lifting today, and in 6 months, you're going to be there, because there is a process to get there, and it is a skill. So if you fall in love with the process of learning the skills that you need to learn, it becomes easier. It becomes easier, because then you're not going to be wasting time on what doesn't work. But just so you can understand that there's a time frame in between pictures, and saying, okay, I weigh more now than I weighted before, and I look better, although it's true, it can be misleading, because it doesn't take into account the process, and it doesn't take into account the fluctuations that happened throughout that process. Okay? Just like again with Tanya here. Before getting her to 122 and before building muscle, after building muscle, she was weighing almost the same as when she started. And then we cut her back down to 122, but she looks better because she has more muscle on her frame now. Okay. And again, she did this for 2.5 years, 3 years, I don't remember. All right, so let's build your nutrition strategy. But first, put it in the chat if you're still here, if you're awake, if you're finding this helpful, or if I'm boring you, just let me know. Put it in the chat here if you're enjoying. Some people had to drop off, which is fine. But yeah, let me know what's been the most helpful part for you right now. All right, Elena is always here. No, so everybody's just either multitasking or sleeping. That's fine. Still here, still here. Oh, people are walking. Good. Anyways, let's go. Go ahead into energy balance, which is the number one rule of fat loss. Okay. And you're probably tired of hearing about calorie deficits, but if you're not losing fat, it's not your hormones, it's not your age, it's not your metabolism that's broken. No matter how clean you eat, if you are not losing body fat, you're not in an energy deficit. Okay. And it's not because you're building muscle, right? So we just learned this. So what is energy balance? The relationship between calories in, calories out. Very simple. Your body really don't care where the calories are coming from. It responds to the total amount. And if you're eating more than you're burning, you're going to gain weight over time. If you're eating less than you're burning, you're going to lose weight over time. And if you're eating the same that you're burning, there's no change. You're going to weigh the same over time. Okay. And this is just a visual to show what it looks like. And also what your total daily energy expenditure is composed of, which many people don't know. But for example, here, your BMR, the largest part, is equates to 70% of the total amount of calories that your body needs on a daily basis. 70%. What is that? What the heck is that BMR? Is however many calories you need, your body needs to keep you alive. That's it. Just functioning, breathing, heart beating, all these things to keep you as a vegetable. You need 70% of what you eat goes towards keeping you alive. Then we have another approximately 20% NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is the involuntary movements. As you can see, I'm very animated. I move my hands a lot. I speak with lots of facial expressions and things like that. That's neat. Like cleaning up the dishwasher, chasing your toddler, doing things that are not intentionally exercise, movement that are not exercise. That's neat. Okay, that accounts for about 20% of that. And then right on top here, we have TEF, thermic effect of food. If you haven't heard about it, who here have never heard about thermic effect of food? thermic effect of food, and it accounts for about 10% of your total daily energy expenditure. This is the amount of calories that your body burns just to digesting food. Yep, digesting food. And the reason why we emphasize whole foods and let's say protein sources instead of just eating random, protein bars or enriched protein bagels. We want you to eat steak. We want you to eat chicken. We want you to eat fish and eggs is because protein has a higher thermic effect of food. And whole foods in general, your vegetables, your potatoes and things like that will need more calories from your body to break those down. So you actually burn more calories by eating those types of foods than if you eat the same exact calories from prepackaged foods, from highly processed foods, just by doing that. And that's one of the reasons why we emphasize so much having majority of your meals to be composed by whole food sources and having a high protein diet, because that helps to just increase the amount of calories that you burn involuntarily. You don't have to do anything extra. You're just eating and digesting those foods. And the last one, you see that last little part here, which is like 5%? Does anyone know what EAT means? What does that account for? So we have BMR, basal metabolic rate. We have NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. We have thermic effect of food, and then EAT. Does anyone know what EAT stands for? No? That's exercise activity thermogenesis. So only 5% of what you need and what you burn throughout the day comes from the exercise that you do. That is very, very little. And people get obsessed about doing lots of cardio and things like that to burn more fat and burn more fat. But one, you can't really control how many calories you burn. And two, that's not really effective. That's not going to be really effective because it is a very little percentage of your total daily and energy expenditure. What's my point with this? When you're in the gym, your goal, even if you are on a fat loss phase, your goal in the gym is to get better in order to build muscle. Because muscle will then impact your BMR, meaning that you're going to burn more calories at rest doing nothing just because you have more muscle on your frame. Isn't that cool? So you don't have to kill yourself doing tons of cardio thinking that that's going to be the key for fat loss. And I'm not on the extreme that says, oh, you should never do cardio. You should ditch cardio. Cardio is good for you. Cardio is good for your overall cardiovascular health, but it's a terrible tool for fat loss and body recomposition changes. Okay. Now, again, I think this is just, I'm repeating myself here. You can eat 100% gluten-free, sugar-free, cut all the carbs and still gain weight if you're eating more than you're burning. And it's really easy to eat more than you burn because if you are relying mostly on processed foods, highly processed foods, that's very easy to overeat because the FDA actually allows for up to 20% of variance in what they describe on their labels. So something that they might say or they might label that it has only 250 calories might in fact have 20% more. So those little things over time, it will it will add up. So the bottom line here that I wanted to bring home is losing body fat comes down to a sustained calorie deficit, period. Period. Okay. Now, quickly, what macros are and why they matter here. Macros are short for macronutrients, which are protein, carbs, fats. Protein has 4 calories per grams, carbs 4 calories per gram, and fats 9 calories per grams. But each one of those 3 macronutrients has a role in the body and serves a purpose in the body. Okay, so protein will build and repair muscle, keeps you full for longer. Carbs will be the main energy source for your workouts, brain function, recovery, and fat supports hormones, brain health, and satiety. You need all three. You need all three. We highly emphasize protein because that's where most women will undereat on. But I see a lot of women undereating on carbs as well and overeating on fats because a lot of the healthy foods on the market, they are high in fats. So if you think about avocados, nuts, seeds, all of those salad bowls, the healthy salad bowls, they are almost as caloric as a burger, if not more, a real actual burger. Why? Because if you account for salmon, avocado, olive oil, all the nuts, everything that they mix in there, there's lots of fats. That's a very, very high fat meal. Not that it is bad, but it's very easy to be misled and overeat on healthy fats without even knowing that you're doing so. Okay. Then now, step one in reality. So just let's start your nutrition strategy, right? So we know your starting point. You understand calorie balance. Now let's estimate your maintenance calories. Let's estimate your total daily energy expenditure for the day. And you're going to use this simple formula here: body weight in pounds times 13, between 13 and 15. Okay, that's going to be your maintenance range depending on your activity level. This is just an estimation. This is just a starting point for you. Don't get crazy over getting this perfect. Over time, you're going to change this. And then you're going to choose your primary focus. If you're going for a muscle building focus, you're going to eat around maintenance calories. That's going to be the goal. And you're going to emphasize progressive strength training. Okay, so your goal should be to progressively get stronger in the gym, eating around your maintenance calories. If you are, like we talked before, on the leaner side, if you are at that lower body fat percentage level. Option two is to go with the fat loss focus, where if you have a higher body fat percentage, do not use your bathroom scale numbers, please. Okay, so make sure that you're just estimating this. And if you are on the higher and side and you want to focus on fat loss, what you're going to do is choose between a moderate deficit and a mini cut. And then estimate your caloric target based off of that, estimate your rate of fat loss and the duration based off of that. You can now take a screenshot of this or take a picture to help you transition into that phase. And from there, you'll return to maintenance or a reverse diet phase. Okay. Then once you figure out your calories, you figure out your macros, which is super easy. Again, based off of your body weight in pounds. So protein, between 0.8 and 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Fats, 25 to 30% of your total calories, and carbs fills in the rest. Okay, and here I have an example for a 150-pound woman at 1,600 calories, just a random example to help you visualize this. You can take a screenshot, you can take a picture of this and do it yourself. Okay. And then some nutrition principles to make the process easier for you. And that's what we taught Natasha as well, which is to build the base of your meals from plants and protein. Pretty simple. Okay, that will have a higher thermic effect of food, more satiety, less hunger and cravings, and more accuracy in the process. Number two is to have bigger meals and no small snacks in between. No, oh, I'm going to have a little bit of almonds here. I'm going to have a small Greek yogurt there, blah, blah, blah. No. I want you to think about spreading your meals between 3 to 4 meals a day. That's it. Each meal will have between 30 to 50 grams of protein. And you're going to eat around the same time every day, give or take 1 hour. Obviously, like you don't have to eat around the clock. But if you have your breakfast around 7 a.m., like every day, try to have around the same time. Same thing with your lunch, same thing with your afternoon snack, same thing with your dinner. Okay, that will just help regulate your circadian rhythm. Number three, winning fat loss, you want to maximize food for volume. Okay, eating low calorie doesn't mean that you need to eat little food. If you do these things here that I just said, numbers 1 and 2, you shouldn't feel that you're eating very little. Okay. So load up on veggies, greens, fruits, because they have a very little calories for a high amount of quantity of food. Like you can have a pound of watermelon for just like 100 calories, I believe. A pound of watermelon, that's a lot. Um, Carbs before and after training and before bed. So try to allocate carbs strategically as well. So that helps with just energy management, craving management, and performance in the gym. And avoid high fat meals before and after training as well. It just those typically just slow down digestion. And then a very, very simple formula for all meals. So this is even before you start tracking, okay? So when you get to the point of using MyFitnessPal as a meal planner and tracking your foods on there, you already have the foundation of how to build a meal. How do you want this to look like? So it makes it so much easier to get to MyFitnessPal and just build up the meals that you want. So number one, you're going to pick a protein, you're going to add a fiber source, and you're going to include a carb or a fat source. Easy. Very, very simple. Okay. The simpler your meals, the more consistent you will be. So you have here, again, you can take a screenshot or you can take a picture, keep this to yourself, of a simple meal framework that you can apply right away. Right away. Think all of your meals, even if it is a snack, protein, veggies, carbs, healthy fats, right? And veggies, you can go veggies/fruits. So for example, if it is a snack, okay, protein, let's choose Greek yogurt. Let's choose, some berries. And then do you need to have any additional carbs on there? Maybe not. Healthy fats, maybe some peanut butter. So peanut butter, berries, and Greek yogurt. Fantastic snack. Now you adjust the portion sizes to get to those 30 to 50 grams of protein that we talked about. So instead of having just a little serving size of Greek yogurt, you're going to weigh it on a food scale and weigh it the amount that you need to get to those 30 grams or 50 grams that you need. Okay. So this is just a framework to think about. And many of you are already thinking, okay, I know that I need to have protein with my meal. Okay, now just adjust the serving size so you have more protein with that meal, but also think, where is my veggies or fruits here? That's a mistake that a lot of women make, right? You buy all the healthy foods, but you're not actually eating vegetables or fruits. So add fruits, add vegetables, always have that thought in your mind. Okay. Now let's talk about training strategy, and which can be overwhelming for a lot of women, but I'm trying to simplify as much as I can here because there is a lot to consider. But the first thing that you're going to choose is the frequency and splits, right? If you have realistically 3 days a week or 4 days a week or 5 days a week, most of our clients train between 3 to 4 days a week. I personally have been training between 2 to 4 days a week for years. Even when I just recently did my before and after the pregnancy, that was training just twice a week in the gym, but being very efficient with what I was doing. So more days in the gym doesn't necessarily mean more muscle growth. You do need to rest in between sessions. Okay. And then the duration of each training block, it really depends. Meaning that you're following the same workouts, you're following the same exercises, or maybe adjusting slightly the variations, but you're progressing within the same movement patterns. For beginners, you're going to need to progress for months with small tweaks, but the focus initially is to improve your biomechanics, neurological adaptation, making sure that you're getting the movements right. And making sure that we're setting a good foundation for you to progress and gain strength over time. So we're not going to be switching things up too much. If you want to get better at something, you need to be repeating that more often. For more intermediate, 6 to 8 week blocks with progressive overload, and for more advanced, that would be subtle shifts every 6 to 12 weeks. I personally, like, my training doesn't change for, I don't know, 12 weeks. Or even more than that. And even when it changes, those are very, very subtle shifts that we make on the program. So we can actually have the time to progress and progressively overload and get stronger and learn the patterns and get better at it, right? So imagine that you just started squatting and you learn squatting. And then once you start to grasp the movement, it changes. and there's something else for you to do. You're never going to really get good on that squat movement or get stronger at that. Step number 2 is the exercise selection. So focusing on compound high return movements for the most part, and sprinkling in some accessory work depending on your goals. And here I have an example of a lower body day with glute and hamstring focus. Okay, just 5 exercises. The big compound movements here will be the glute bridge, the reverse lunges, the barbell RDL, and then the accessory movements, the isolation movements are going to be the seated leg curl and the cable hip abduction. So that's a well-rounded workout. You don't need more than that. This is definitely something that you can progress on for months and months on end, get super strong and get really good at the execution, making sure that you're applying not only progressive overload, but that your technique is locked in, that you're having full range of motion on all of those movements, that the intensity is there. Those are very, very important points to consider. So it looks simple, it looks easy, but when you execute it correctly, that's what's going to bring the biggest bang for your buck. And step 3, progression, how you're actually going to progress on this. There's many different ways to do this, many different ways, but I find that one of the most efficient ways is to use the double progression, meaning that you're going to use rep ranges to your advantage. So let's say that you have 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. What you're going to do is you're going to find a load that will get you near failure at the lower rep range. And each week, you're going to try to squeeze in more reps out of that same load. Okay. And for that, you're going to have to track your lifts. So every week you're tracking the weights that you're using, how many reps, how many sets, RIR, which is how many repetitions you have in reserve. So you get to the end of the set and you ask yourself, how many more reps could I have done if Andrea was here yelling in my ears? And if the answer is, let's say, 3 or more, then you're probably not getting near the point of near failure that we want. Okay, so film yourself, film your technique. Be really picky with how you're executing this. But if you do this, you're going to get stronger over time. So using this example, 8 to 10 reps or even 8 to 12 reps, if 4 or 5 weeks ago you were able to lift a weight that you were failing on at 8 reps, and now you're able to do that with 12 reps, you got stronger. You just got stronger because you're lifting that same weight, but for more reps. Okay. And then you do this for every lift. Whenever you hit the higher end of the rep range, you go back to, you add more weight and go back to the lower rep range. Okay. And none of what we're talking about here in terms of training and having the perfect training program, none of this matters if you're not training close enough to failure. Okay. If you don't know how to push yourself, because if you're just going through the motions, you see 3 sets of 10 and that's what you do, 9, 10, it's the same. You're not really challenging your muscles. You're not, applying enough intensity to see change and adaptation. You need to really drive that intensity if you want your muscles to respond by growing. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm just starting to feel the burn. It's just starting to feel hard. It was hard. That's not it. It's the muscle that we're challenging here. Okay. You need to be it is really hard. And I even have a video, 2 videos that I wanted to share with you guys on how to assess. How do you know if you're close enough to failure? How do you know if you're lifting heavy enough? So you have to ask yourself this question right after the set. How many more reps did I have left in the tank? Okay, if it's, like I said, if it's not more than 3, you're not there yet. Obviously, this is considering you have your technique and your form locked in. Okay. For example, you notice that on this reverse lunge, I start at a specific tempo. You can see the speed of my repetitions there, right? And over time, over the course of the set, it starts to get challenging. You can see on my face that it's not easy. And you can notice that it's slowing down. It's slowing down involuntarily, okay? And then right there at the bottom, that was a very, very hard rep to complete. And then right there, I try to push to one more, and I can't. I had to lock in. So that's the level of effort that we need to be putting in. Okay? This does take time. It does take practice. It's not going to be right away. And again, your technique needs to be locked in. But notice how the speed starts to change. It starts to slow down towards the end. It starts to get more challenging. I'm wearing lifting straps, so that helps with every pulling movement. This is highly recommended. So my wrists are not giving up on me, but it's getting slower and slower and slower. Let me see if I can change this view here. But notice that right there is where most people would just stop. So it's getting slower and slower and slower. And I keep on pulling until I no longer can. So I stopped right there. It just doesn't go any further. Do I give up? No. I try one more. And I keep on trying until I can no longer lift that weight. So it's not just going through the motions and like, okay, I need to do 10 reps. It is the effort that you are applying. So track that, film yourself. More often than not, when I film myself and I look back, I'm like, I think I had one more in me, you know? So if you're not breathing heavy, if you're not bracing hard, if you're not slowing down unintentionally, just like I showed, if you're not making ugly faces or not like needing to really focus and like praying to Jesus to come back and help you, you're likely not close enough to failure to stimulate change. Again, I'll say this again and reinforce this again. This is considering that your technique and your form is locked in. Okay, considering that your technique and form is well-rounded, that you have full range of motion, that you got this. Okay, technique-wise, it looks good. Then we go over the intensity. Okay. But most women underestimate how strong they can be and they just stop too early, or they just assume that they need to stop at the amount of reps that their program, their training was designed for, which is not the case. Okay. You make the program as hard or as easy, depending on the effort that you apply. Now, the last portion of this, we talked about nutrition strategy, we talked about training strategy, and now measuring your progress, tracking it, and making sure that you're heading in the direction that you want. Super easy. If you're doing this on your own, body weight daily, or at least 3 to 4 per week. In the morning, fasted, after bathroom, naked, under the same conditions every time. No like random weigh-ins at the gym. Like, you have clothes on, you have water in you, you have food in you. It doesn't make any sort of sense to do that. So always weigh in the morning, fasted after bathroom. If you miss one day, just do it the next day. Your measurements on a weekly basis as well, or at least like every couple of weeks. Your progress photos at least every couple of weeks. Same time, same lighting, same clothing, same posing, so you can see if you're seeing any more changes. Your lifts logged, so your workouts, making sure that you have your reps, your sets, your weights, and even how you felt during each session. It's important. And then energy, sleep, hunger, recovery, digestion. How is it all going? Like, how how is your body responding otherwise? Like, are you pooping every day? Are you pooping every 3 days? Are you, digesting food well? Are you feeling bloated all the time? Are you feeling lethargic every afternoon? Like, track those things because they do have a correlation on how you're recovering and how you are just absorbing nutrients in general. Okay. So basically, your 90-day action plan, if you want to get out of this presentation with a plan, with something to do and something to keep in mind. We have like basically a 3-month structure here for you. So in the first month, you would prime your metabolism, you would nail the basics first. So having that meal structure locked in, having, the technique and form with your workouts locked in, nail consistency first, like protein, walking, water, these things, have those in place. And then month 2, start calculating your maintenance calories here on month 1 as well. Start tracking if you're not tracking any of the metrics that we just talked about. Start there. And then then you're ready to begin fat loss or a little bit of muscle building body recomp phase, and continue tracking your lifts, start progressing weekly weigh-in, photos, measurements, and then you can make adjustments based on how your body is responding. Same thing for month 3. Make those adjustments, and if you've reached your goal, then maybe it's time for a reverse diet. Maybe it's time to increase calories slightly, and decide what you want to do from there. Does that make sense? So if you've been stuck in this cycle of hard work and no results and spinning your wheels, when you implement this system, you train less but better. So you get better results. You eat more because you now know the structure that your meal needs to have, meal composition, and you know that you don't need to cut out completely anything so you don't rebound badly, and you feel satisfied, you feel energized, you feel good most of the time, and you look in the mirror and you actually see the results of your effort, right? So imagine if you just locked in and, okay, let me eliminate all the distraction. Let me just focus on what Andrea is sharing here and let me apply it. And based on the feedback that my body is giving me, then I'm going to go ahead and make changes and make my best judgment if this works or not, but I'm not going to be distracted with anything else, right? This is what it could happen. So that's exactly what I help my clients with inside my one-on-one coaching program. And this is a great example, Kaylee, of different phases of her life, because on the first before and after here, this was before she had her baby, and this was after she had her baby. And the after here is just like 4 months after she had her baby, which is crazy. And also really proves the point that when you spend time building muscle, you transition through different phases of your life, having a much easier time because, again, you have the basics locked in, you have the basics already nailed, you know that the foundation is there. You just need somebody else to design a plan for you that you can follow, stick to, and get results, right? Now, if you're here until the end, then now you are eligible to get free access to all of my group training from my 6 weeks Momentum Reset Challenge. I'll be sending this over to your email, just so you can get the doc. Actually, since you are already here, let me just share it in the chat so you can grab that document right away before anybody else does. Let me just share it here. And meeting group chat, there you go. The doc is yours. So that is all the 6 weeks of our trainings inside the Momentum Reset Challenge, plus 3 bonus trainings with mindset, muscle building, and how to stay lean on vacation. Okay. Now, without further ado, I did say that I was going to share more details about my program if you wanted to work with me and if you wanted to have wins like this, where she broke the 137, hit 136.4, abs are coming under the fluff layer, legs are toning down, and bat wings are subsiding. And if you feel excited and you want to be able to do this, and you even like drinking beer and looking up at restaurants ahead of time, then I will invite you to apply to the Hot Body Blueprint, my new 16-week program, where, again, your sex life can be improved, your husbands can, will start to compliment you more often, and people are going to start noticing the results of your effort. And if you've learned anything from this presentation, you know that we don't only focus on quick fat loss or quick weight loss tactics that just leads to muscle loss and slower metabolism and no results to show for. We focus on improving your body composition and building the physique that you want while optimizing your health and metabolism for sustainable results, right? So that all encompasses our training system, our nutrition system, and our fail-proof success method, which ensures that you have the accountability and support throughout all of the phases. So you're never lost, you're never trying to figure this out on your own. And you're just like one text away from reaching out for help and to have all of your questions answered. This is not a one size fits all plan. Okay. So every single thing that we do is tailored to you, to your goals, your lifestyle, and your body. Okay. And you can have results like this, right? You can love your progress pictures at any age. Like this client is 56 or 55, and she's super excited to keep on shopping for clothes that she actually likes and not settling for clothes that just fits, right? Who here would love to be able to do that, to go and shop for the clothes that you actually like and enjoy, and not for the ones that are just hiding a little bit of the parts that you don't like? Who here wants to, be able to be that great example for your kids and your, significant other, and just overall create that movement of living a better, healthier lifestyle while also looking great at the same time? And this is all possible when you go through our 4-phase Sculpt and Sustain system, going through all the phases that we just talked to, all tailored to you, considering your starting point and your end goal as well. You're going to have 100% clarity on what you need to be doing on each phase and what are the changes that you need to make in order to get the results you want. Just like Jessica here, she absolutely crushed it in all of the phases of our program, and the end result is absolutely mind-blowing. Same thing with Danielle. And here's what you actually get inside the program. Basically, all your one-on-one onboarding assessment calls. So you're going to talk to us. There's no just a random PDF delivered. You're going to have your custom training, nutrition training based on your abilities, lifestyle goals, weekly progress check-ins and adjustments, exercise form review, your personalized body recomp tracker that we just implemented with all of your phases mapped out, so you know exactly when are things changing and what kind of change or adjustments we're making. And private client group call, private client group chat, so you can connect with other ladies as well. Expert trainings that we do and group calls where we dive deep into training, nutrition, mindset support, one-on-one messaging support with your coach Monday through Friday, game plan for travel, social life, busy schedules, lifestyle and identity optimization. So you get it all, but this is not for everyone. Okay, this is not for everyone. Like I said, it's for people like Sharnia, who was locked in and driven all into the process. Lizzie, I don't know if you're still here watching this presentation, but she nailed it. She was absolutely locked in, all in the program, following and also asking for feedback, crushing it. And this is not going to be for you if, if you're vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian. I don't cater to this population. I'm not a specialist in. If you don't have a gym membership and are not willing to get one, home gyms are acceptable if they're well equipped with, dumbbell, bench, barbell, plates, weight that you can progress on. But if you're not open to trying new approaches, if you're looking for quick weight loss results in a short period of time, if you aren't willing to invest in yourself at a higher level, if you think that, you deserve to have just a $27 a month kind of program, if you can't commit to 3 to 4 60-minute-ish training sessions per week. If you don't want to change your habits, lifestyle, or physique, if you want someone to coddle you, motivate you, or just be your cheerleader, we're not going to be for you. And also, if you're expecting results without, putting in the work, without much effort, which I don't think, I think minority of you are here are not putting in the work. But if you think that you know it all and you should be able to do this on your own and you're not coachable, you're not going to follow the feedback, then don't do it. If you make excuses instead of looking for solutions, if you hire a coach, but you do your own thing, you do what the influencer said, you're not being coachable. If you're looking for the cheapest option, not the best one for the results that you're seeking, if you don't want to follow a structured, proven plan, and if you're looking for like fun workouts or 450 recipe ideas for every meal, then it's probably not the right fit for you here, okay? And most importantly, like we want to make sure that our community is composed by women with the same mindset. We want to be surrounded by people who inspire us and who are doing the work, because the reality is most people around us, they settle for what's average. They settle for very little results. They're okay with being mediocre. Most people are like that. So if you don't put yourself in an environment, in a community that people are pushing you to be better, to do better, that are doing better than you, it's going to be really hard for things to stick. And it's going to be really hard for you to feel that you're normal, right? So I don't really like to work with women who, are okay with just being average, with just settling for mediocre results, and, they don't want to improve over time. I coach women who are wanting more for themselves and they go for it unapologetically. Just like Bellies is a fantastic example. She goes for it. She just absolutely crushes it. And she went all in since day one. She had spent thousands trying to lose body fat, trying to do all, aesthetic procedures and things like that. Her doctor told her that this is it. You're postmenopausal, after menopause. This is your new body set point. This is your new body weight. You should just accept the way it is. There's like nothing much that you can do. And turns out that he was wrong and she didn't believe him and she knew that she could do better. And ever since, she's been, not only losing the body fat, I believe she lost about 25 pounds-ish, but regaining strength, regaining her confidence, at a point in her life where she should accept things as they are. So that's the mentality that we want behind it. And that's why she's feeling so confident now. That's why she's, loving how she's looking and how she understands the process. She's bought into the process. That's the most important part. She is committed to the process, not just the end results. Same thing with Dominic. She was able to drop 30 pounds in less than 6 months, regaining her strength after having a baby. And this is for women like them, for women who, have access to a gym or well-equipped gym, who are committed to the process, who can prepare meals once or twice a week, who will use a food scale to measure their food accurately, who can work out 3 to 4 days a week, who will check in for progress updates. So if you're willing to commit to this process, you might be a good fit. Just like Kaylin here, who is, again, crushing it. And she's a student of the process. She asks all the questions. She sends form videos. She executes it. She doesn't fear getting feedback. She doesn't like the cookie cutter approach or just the coddling approach where people just say, hey, you're doing a great job. She likes to hear the truth and the no BS truth about where she's at and what she needs to do. And that's why she's having amazing results, even traveling for Europe, traveling multiple times on vacation with her family and 2 little kids. So this program is for women like them. So if you are like them, if you take action, if you commit to something, you follow through and you find a way to make it happen, if you are motivated already, if like you're not struggling to find motivation, if you don't need hand holding, just like give me a clear path and I'll follow. And if you take personal responsibility too, like no blaming the weather, blaming politics, or blaming your husband, your kids, your dog. You take personal responsibility. You know that you are responsible for your results, nobody else. If you see your health as an investment rather than a cost. So if you're doing this, if you're building muscle, yes, we want to look hot, but this will translate in a healthier version of you 10, 20 years down the road, right? That is an investment in yourself. Building muscle is an investment in yourself that will pay dividends for a very long time. So if you don't see it as an investment, if you think that you should be, you should be fine with just a cheap thing or a free thing, then this might not be for you because that it's not how it works. Okay. If you want to learn how to train more efficient in the gym, if you are a student of the process, if you want to become a student of the process, then this is for you. If you're tired of, just spinning your wheels and doing random things, this is for you, right? If you want a clear, simple, and straightforward approach, if you've been working towards losing fat, building muscle, looking toned for months, years, and maybe you fell off track at some point and nothing seems to work anymore. If you want to learn from an experienced coach who's achieved what you want and lives the lifestyle that you want to live, then this might be for you because we can teach you a thing or two. If you're ready, willing, able to work hard, be coachable, if you're open to learning new approaches, if you appreciate direct and clear communication with no sugarcoating, and you execute on that, then yeah, we might be a fit, right? And truth is, you might be skeptical still, which I don't blame you because there's lots of, like I said in the beginning, there's lots of information out there, lots of people doing the same, quote unquote, the same thing out there. So I hear the skepticism, and you might have had poor experiences before. So I definitely don't blame you. And this is a question that I asked the client the other day, and she said the only thing that she was skeptical of it was the financial part. But the reality is that she's probably spent way more over the years on random programs and diets that didn't work, which is true. And this is a client who in just 8 weeks, I believe she dropped 10 pounds in 8 weeks. Looked a lot leaner and like she's over 42. So this just goes to show, right? If you're feeling some, if you're feeling the pull to apply, to see what it looks like, to, maybe have a conversation with me personally and see what this entails, what it would look like for you, and you want to have wins like my clients are having, if you want to crush it this summer and beyond, then I will invite you to apply for my program. I'll drop the link in the chat, okay? Because basically right now the choice is yours. You can use the information that I just shared on this workshop, apply it for yourself, do it on your own. You can keep on trying, or you can ignore everything that I just said and you can just go into the next thing and accumulate more information. And you can always keep on doing what you're doing now and stay stuck, right? Or you can choose to take action today and start building the body that you actually want. The choice is yours. There's no strings attached to the application. I'm going to drop the application link in the chat here. So if you want to apply for my program, if you're ready to take things to the next level, if you want to have a conversation with me, see if we're a good fit to work together, if you're tempted, if you're curious, if after this workshop something's clicked for you and you realize that you might need more help than you initially thought, and you realize that maybe you're not doing all the things, maybe there is some pieces that are missing, I will invite you to apply. Send over your application. There's no strings attached. It's a very quick application. Fill it out. I'm going to personally go through all the applications, and from there, we're going to schedule a time to talk on Zoom, just you and I, so we can understand your goals with more clarity, understand what's holding you back with more clarity, and see if and how we can help you get to that big vision that you're going to create for yourself. Okay. So once again, the link is in the chat here for you. Super simple application. If you missed this, it is in my bio on Instagram as well. And this is the first step. This is the first step for us to determine if we're a good fit, if I can help you. I want to learn more about you as well. If again, you got curious after everything that I shared here, you're not quite sure, you want to understand better what it would look like for you, what this one-on-one coaching would look like for you, just make sure that you submit your application there. I am limiting the amount of clients that I'm going to be taking in, especially now for the month of May. So this invitation here is very, very, very private, because as you guys know, I'm approaching my due date. I'm approaching having my baby. So I will be closing the doors for our 101 program very, very soon. And we won't be taking clients for I don't know. I don't know how long I'm going to keep the doors closed because I want to make sure that we have our full attention to all of our current clients, clients that are working with us, and make sure that things are running smoothly. So I'm not quite sure when we're going to be opening doors again after I open my baby. Depending on the number of applications that we receive, I might close the doors like literally tomorrow, depending on how many applications we get, how many people we schedule calls with, and how many people we onboard. So just know that if you're like, oh, I should just wait, girl, you're going to miss out. If you wait, you might miss out on your spot because again, I will be closing the doors and I'll be announcing that I'm closing the doors very, very soon on Instagram. May is going to be the last month or until we hit our capacity, but May is going to be the last month that I'm going to be taking on new clients until further notice, until until after I have the baby and we figure out okay, now we can accommodate newer clients. So don't miss out on this. Again, there's no strings attached. The application is free. It just takes a couple minutes of your time. And if I look at your application and I feel that you are a fit and you're approved to the next step, what we're going to do, we're going to schedule a simple, very non-strings attached call as well, just so we can have a conversation, a better conversation face to face. And no pressure, no pressure to join the program or anything. I don't like to pressure people into anything. I don't like to, I don't want to have just more clients for the sake of it. I want to make sure that we're a good fit. I want to make sure that this feels good for you. If it doesn't, then all good. But the application is in the chat. Reach out if you have any questions, or now you can raise your hands if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to ask from the presentation, from my coaching program. You can raise your Zoom hand, you can unmute yourself and ask your question, or you can drop your question in the chat as well. Either way is fine. Okay. And thank you so much for those who showed up here and stayed until the end. I love that. But yes, you can unmute yourself now if you have any questions. I'm here to answer all of your questions.
Hi.
Hi, Gina.
I have a question. So I'm filling out the application,
Mhm.
but so when I fill the application and if you take it, and then you're gonna tell me like how much it's gonna be and all the details about how much it will cost and the process.
Yes. So I'll look at your application. I'll reach out to you on Instagram.
Mhm.
Okay. So make sure that you have your handle there that I can reach out to you on Instagram. I'll reach out. We'll book a call. I have spots for this week. And then on the call, we're going to go over all the details of the program pricing and everything like that.
Okay, sounds good. Then
Okay.
I'll finish to filling out. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I appreciate it.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you.
I'm so
What was your
excited.
biggest takeaway, Gina? I'm curious.
Well, first thing is I was kind of skeptical when all this started because the same thing you said. I've tried multiple things, and you know how Instagram is full of kind of knowledge, and you do everything.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it's gonna be the same. I don't want to waste my time. They're like, no, let's try to listen. So so I love the fact that you explain all that, and you explain few things that I have like no idea, and stuff like that. And I mean, it was very interesting. I mean, to go over all nutrition and
Mhm.
exercising and all that. Of course, I realized some mistakes I made that you already mentioned,
Good.
and I mean, I'm excited to see if that worked for me.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I'm
I'm
your
excited
same
to
age
chat with you.
actually. Yeah, I'm 37 too.
37.
Yeah,
Amazing. Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. I'm
yeah.
excited
So
for you. Thanks for sharing that.
yeah, I'm looking for leaning and growing muscle because I haven't able to go to that level.
Yeah.
And I dropped fat a long time ago. Long story short, I was overweight, then I lost it, but I haven't been able to grow muscle the way it
Mm,
should. So that's why I feel like I need the professional help.
amazing. Amazing. I hope that we can help. I'm excited to see your application coming
Yeah, I'm
through.
pretty sure. Yeah, you're very
Yeah.
knowledgeable.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mira is a client of ours. She's crushing it. She's saying it's worth it. Mira, do you want to unmute yourself or you're not? You're already in bed.
Sure, I can definitely unmute myself. I was just gonna say, like, I was also very skeptical just about having lots of different experiences in the fitness industry, and like, a lot of people promising lots of things, but I've really been pleasantly surprised. I'm the same age as both of you too. And just different journeys, but long journeys. And yeah, I've just been really, really happy with everything I've learned. And for me, it's been a great educational experience so far. I know I'm only 6-ish months in, or 7 months in now, and there's a long road to go, but I've really enjoyed it. So it's hard when you don't. I had a friend that worked with you, Andrea, so I had that like intel, but
Yeah.
kind of finding someone on the internet or whatever, it can be hard to know whether to trust it. So that's why I just said that to Gina.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Mira. And Mira is a great example of a student of the process that we talk about. She's constantly asking for feedback. She's constantly sending, form videos. She asks when she doesn't have clarity on how to execute things. And these are the people that we like to work with. And these are the people who see results and are successful in the long run, because you need to understand what you're doing. And not only that, it puts you in the driver's seat. It gives you the autonomy, because we're not here to just tell you what to do and you follow blindly, or just say what it can or cannot do without, like, we're not your moms, like, you're not a toddler, so you're a grown woman. So we give you the education behind what we do. We obviously, hey, here's the structure, here are the consequences of choosing this or that option, but it ultimately comes to your decision to show up, put in the work, ask the questions, clarify when you don't understand something, or ask for help when you're struggling and want to hide in the corner, and things like that. So those are the traits that makes clients like Mira super successful, and I can see that she's gonna stick to it long term, and she's gonna have continue to having amazing results. Any other questions? Or we're good. Hmm. Good. So I guess we don't have any other questions. All right. So we are what? 2 hours and a bit in. So thank you so much for those who stayed until the end. Um, and I survived. I'm past my bedtime and I'm here. Uh, and it was a pleasure. I absolutely loved doing this. I don't know if you guys also enjoyed the presentation. If there's any takeaways from what you've learned.